What up, dogs and dogs?
Keeping it real.
Old games. Are they even games? Is that a graphics? No, that is not a graphics. Call of Duty is a graphics. That is old and gross, and I hate it. So yeah, today I'm gonna be talking about that old shit, like Mario 64 and Uncharted. Ew, what the fuck? I don't wanna play any of that shit. I wanna play my perfectly refined EA game. So I'm sure you hear people talk about the Mega Mans and the Star Foxes and think, what? That sounds super mega giga baby Bowser. But let me let you in on a little secret. Old games are games too. And games do be fun though. I think we write old games off subconsciously as unnecessary because they don't have high-tech titty physics and god rays, and assume because of their age that they're going to be janky and play like dick and balls and look like piss. When in reality, when it came to making games back in the day, developers didn't really focus on putting 10 trillion polygons into virtual Nolan North's face. Instead, they put most of their time into things like art style and sound design, and the little thing I like to call game design, because that shit used to be fucking necessary. And because of this, older games can be some of the most polished games of all time. They can be some of the most beautiful games of all time. And you know the old Call of Duties whip the balls of the new ones. God damn! Now, I want to just have a little disclaimer that not all old games are good. In fact, most old games are bad. Really bad. If you were to put a blindfold on someone and put them in a store in 1998 and then one in 2020 and picked out a random game in each, the 2021 has a much bigger chance of being playable and somewhat good, whereas the 1998 game has a big chance of being a first-person South Park game. So it's very rare nowadays that a game is just unplayable, ugly, or just suffers from terrible difficulty spikes. But that does not mean there is not a reason to jump back into the past and play some of those old games. Now, this is when it gets a little tricky, what to go back and play. We all like to go back and play a game from like our childhood that we thought was the bee's knees, when it turns out that Van Helsing for the PS2 was actually pretty goddamn bad.
Hey bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
I'm talking about going back and playing games that you've never touched before. Is there a franchise that you love but you never got around to playing the older titles? And even though some people talk about them being the best ones, I don't know, maybe go back and play it a bit. You're gonna start playing something like Max Payne, a game based around his daughter and his wife being murdered, with a big ass stupid JPEG of a smirk on his face. He's gonna react to it like this.
No!
And you're gonna think to yourself, bye bye, this game is bad and sucks balls. But then you start shooting stuff.
What the?
Then you're playing the second one and you reload your gun like,
oh shit! That shit's funny, man! That shit is gas! Yo!
and before you know it, you'll be on YouTube watching top 10 games to play, and maybe if you're a bit more morbid, top 10 games to play before you die. Did you know that old games are cheap as balls? If you own a PC, you could emulate games. Illegal act that's just happens to be free and lets you re-experience games in whatever resolution you want. You can tweak it however you like, use any controller you want. I don't know. I mean, why would someone want to do that? It's just, you know, you just... One of the best things about going back and playing older games is it's addicting because you're only going to be playing the good shit. Because if you're aware that a game exists, it's probably worth talking about and it's probably a big deal. You might not know this, but a Mass Effect game came out like 3 years ago, but people kind of subconsciously blocked that off from their memory. But people still talk about Metal Gear Solid and how it made them do the Millie Rock or whatever dances they did back in the dark ages of the 90s. And you think to yourself, maybe it's time I snuck myself onto Shadow Moses Island. It's crazy to me to think that some of my most favorite games of all time came out before I was even born. A few years ago, I had just graduated from high school and had nothing to play. And my friend said to me, "Hey dumbass, play Banjo-Kazooie." And I didn't know much about it besides it was a 3D platformer and that I was bored. So I booted up my emulator and I didn't know Kim Kardashian was here because someone just turned on my motherfucking jam. And I get if Banjo-Kazooie doesn't sound like a game you might enjoy. I get it. But there's 40 years worth of games out there. And if you don't think there's 1 or 2 games or even a handful or even 100 games from that time period that you might not enjoy, God, if you like racing games, play some Burnout. And if you're feeling like growing some balls and being a man, play some Split Second, the most underrated game of all time. Don't believe me? I literally Googled most underrated games of all time and it wasn't there. That's how underrated it is. Get out your PS3, buy Split Second, invite a friend over, boot it up, start split screen, and want some more first-person shooting action after Doom Eternal? The first 4 Halo games. Not that first 4. That first 4.
Let's move!
The Half-Life series is so dirt cheap. I definitely recommend the first one. G-Man's chapped lips ASMR for dehydrated people. God damn.
If you're interested, just step into the portal and I will take that as a yes.
Are you one of those weird creeps that like 3D platformers? Well, I think it's time you played Sly Cooper. This franchise is so good. I definitely recommend the first one. It is by far my favorite and is like a carnival of fun. You can literally beat it in one sitting. It's not perfect, but it is one of the most unique and well thought out games with so much character. More people should play Sly Cooper. Old games do not degrade over time, they just become less talked about. Go dig out your older brother's N64 or go rip through one of those $2 piles of games and become a freaking gamer. You live in the modern era. You don't need to go out and buy some cereal you don't really like to get a demo disc so you can experience 10 minutes of beating things to death as Mr. Incredible. Hashtag gamer shit.
Your crime spree is over. My name is...
We live in a society where you can just go on anything and download demos now. Go on something and download like 5 demos on your PlayStation or your Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and just have some fun. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I break it down for you a little bit and say there's something truly special about going back and playing older games and realizing, damn, why didn't I play this earlier? There is a reason that people still love and talk about games like GoldenEye for the N64, and it's not because when you shoot a chair with your gun it blows up. It's because they're fun. And if it's not fun, then why bother? I just want you guys to play some games and remember how much games have to offer to us, especially the older ones too. Can we get some gamer recommendations in the chat? The only prereqs are like 5 years or older and they're fun as shit. So I leave you with this. Go explore this wacky world of ours and find a game to play, relax and don't let stress get to you, and maybe even play Ratchet & Clank because it's a banger. Thanks for watching, and hey, I might even make some more content one day.